Hi, Ashlyn.
Hi, Haley. How's your
Welcome
weekend been?
back. Short-lived.
Retweet. I don't understand why we have not yet implemented a standard 3-day work week or weekend. All right.
Retweet. Yeah, no, I would love that. And there are even some schools in Texas right now that are starting a 4-day school week, but Texas legislature is trying to stop that from happening. So
As per usual.
probably not going to happen at my school, but it is nice for those who might get a 4-day work week for a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, Texas legislature is just going to shut down everything that's good. So,
Right.
um, well, that is fun. Love that.
And if you haven't noticed, we are back in our own homes, so we are not together today. It was a beast trying to get the Zoom recording figured out, so hopefully, at this point, I don't even care. It's recording. We've done all that we can to try to make it sound nice, and you get what you get. Welcome back.
Get what you get. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's unless anybody wants to pitch in for tolls and gas, getting over to each other's houses is not as easy as one may hope. So, yes, Zoom is our best friend and we're doing the thing. Um, Welcome back. As Haley said, we hope you've had a good month since our last podcast of the fine print.
Mm-hmm.
This month rather, we did Flock by Kate Stewart. If you are unfamiliar, Haley, would you like to give a little? You did such a great job in the fine print. So if you would like to give a little brief overview of said book.
So I think when we recorded by print, I tried to give you a synopsis without giving anything away because the back of the book literally says nothing. Oh, I made my lip bleed. I just bit my lip.
Oh,
The back of
okay.
the book really does nothing to tell you what Flock is about, but essentially it is a band of brotherhood, like Robin Hood characters, whose purpose is to give back to the poor. And the girl that gets kind of roped into this band of boys, her father is a really rich guy who basically owns the town. So it's kind of like a forbidden romance. That would be probably a good trope. Um,
I
Maybe.
mean, there is a little bit of boss, not really boss, but like boss and
Yeah, like supervisor kind of stuff going on. But that's essentially it without giving too much away to the actual plot of the book.
but I will have to say I don't think the Robin Hooding is
As obvious in the beginning.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was definitely we'll get further into that. But Haley, what did you rate this book?
I rated this book. Okay, so listen. This is the second time I've read this book. I read it, first, and the first time I read it, I gave it a 5 out of 5. But the second time, I didn't like read it word for word again. I kind of just like lightly read it just to remind myself what was going on. And I kind of want to change my rating to a 4 out of 5.
I also gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I think I was still like in that hyped up mode of I finally read Flock and everyone loved Flock and I was like 5 out of 5. Yeah, it was a good book. But now that I've gone back through it again and like really looked into the details, I'm like, it's really like a 4 for me.
Yeah, so like how I would differentiate for myself a 4 versus a 5 is I think they're both good, maybe even great. But like, am I going to reread it? Both of those could constitute a 4. But
Right.
are there places that I'm going to skim and maybe not read the whole thing? I think that's where I differentiate between a 4 and a 5. Because
Yeah.
there are absolutely places in this place or in this book that I would not want to reread.
Yeah, and I think that's where I wanted to change it because my 5 is if I want to reread this book again and enjoy it again. And as I was rereading it, I was like, no. Like, this is probably good. I read it a second time and I probably will not read it again after this. And so, yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
love
very
that.
unique book.
It was very unique. Actually, Haley and I pre-podcast were just briefly discussing because we're gonna do hopefully maybe recommendations at the end. And I was like, you know what? I don't know that I have any, because this is not the most normal book that I've read.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into like a generic mold of
Yeah,
books.
agreed.
So now spice scale.
The spice scale, I believe we did agree on this one. It was a 4 out of 5.
A 4 out of 5 for spiciness. Mm-hmm.
It was. For those who have not read it yet, you'll know we're about to tell you to turn away. I will just specify that the reason it was a 4 instead of a 5 is the frequency is there, but the description isn't always.
Mm-hmm. And we're basing our spice scale again off of Ashlyn's spice scale on her website is thebookspicy.com. So if you're wondering exactly how we got a 4, we do use her nice little graphic that she made, and it's pretty self-explanatory. So we did agree that it is a 4 out of 5. Like, there are some explicit scenes, but sometimes they only last like a paragraph. It's just kind of like like real quick, like, there you go. But they're pretty good. Like the ones that are like long and written well, like they're very nice.
And it is helpful. I would say that we do have the spice scale. Haley and I did chat and agree upon the level of spices that is on the website. And it will help because if you have been a listener and you remember in the past, Haley would do it based on, I believe you did it based on frequency, and I did it based on how good it was that existed.
Right. So, yeah. And this now the spice scale is kind of like a mix of both. It's like, yes, is it frequent and is it good?
Yes, exactly. And this will hopefully keep us somewhat of the same ratings. Okay.
All right. So now it's time to turn everybody away who hasn't read the book.
Bye-bye.
So yes, if you haven't read it, pause the podcast here, go read the book, and once you're ready, you can come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then stick around and let's start talking about this book.
Let's start talking about it. Okay, first things first, there's actually something. Okay, for dear readers, dear listeners, this is Bridgerton. Dear readers, I, upon request and upon peer pressure, decided that this was going to be the second book that I have ever tabbed. And if you don't know what that means, I tabbed it using quite literally tabs in places that I liked or that I didn't like or that was spicy, etc. I am still learning how to tab. And this was, like I said, only my second. And my first one we did not do on this podcast. So I'm going to learn from my lessons and not overwhelm myself.
And I love tabbing my books. So looking at my book versus Ashlyn's, Ashlyn has a lot of tabs because she did tab basically everything that she liked.
Indeed I did.
But it is a work in progress. And if you hear pages flipping, it's because we both have the physical book with us and we want to make sure that we hit all of our points in here that we liked and did not like.
Exactly. The big important ones. Honestly, my first tab, I don't know if, again, I've tabbed much more than you have, but my first tab happens before the first chapter.
Right. I have one in the prologue.
Do you? Which page? Which page is it? Wait, do you even have page numbers in the prologue?
No, there's no page numbers in the prologue.
Is it the last one?
No, it's literally the second page in the prologue.
Okay, all right. Well, what is yours?
Mine, just right off the bat, I do not like books that set you up to have the whole book as a flashback. So my first tab was an orange tab, because I hate the color orange, realizing that this girl is 26 present day, but we are about to backtrack to when she was 18 years old. So it sounds like the whole series is probably going to be a flashback. I don't know, but the first book is definitely an entire flashback. No me gusta.
Yes.
That's my first tab.
I do recall you no me gustaing that.
Yeah.
My first tab is actually, okay, so because I've already done a book with all of my tabs, my colors are not representative of how I feel.
Correct.
So orange, I agree, I would typically dislike this. But in this book, because I ran out of the color that I did like, orange is like. Isn't that helpful? Yes, that's why I have in my first page what my tabs mean. So the first one that I liked was that the last page basically said, like, yes, this is a flashback, blah, 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 blah. But, like, this is my story. And it was very hard for me to have a very normal and healthy relationship based on the way that I was raised. And I was like, I like that you're setting us up to at least acknowledge that this is
not healthy.
Yes. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Um, so wow. Diving on in. Diving on in.
So I want to start out at the very beginning of the book. Cecilia moves in with her dad because basically mom got remarried and mom is like, or mom's new husband's like, get out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt this to the core of Cecilia wants to take care of her mom and is having a hard time cutting that umbilical cord. And I am so attached to my mom that I felt that like in my gut, like I need to take care of my mom. And one part in here, it just says like it's her friend. She's talking to her friend and her friend's telling her it's not your job to take care of your mom. Like she's okay.
Yeah, I did not actually tab that, but I thought about you when I read it.
Because I'm so attached to my mom. I love her to death, and living 30 minutes away from her is a lot for us. So I did tab that because as much as I know I don't need to parent my mom, I feel the need to, but I related to Cecilia because she also feels that she's doing all of this, like she's moving in with her dad to then be able to take care of her mom.
Can we just real quick, not to skip ahead, but can we real quick talk about her dad? Because literally what a piece of shit.
He is a piece of shit, but I don't want to go into too many details and like get out of order.
Haley, I'm ready to talk about it now.
Okay, we'll get there. But like, yes, you can talk about how he immediately tried to bribe her love by giving her that stupid Apple Watch.
Ugh, and then promptly smashing it. Oh, sorry, he didn't smash it. Sean smashed it.
Yeah, Sean smashed it.
Yeah, I did think it was very interesting in the beginning to find out right off the bat that Sean was going to be her supervisor.
Yes.
I was like, oh, we're jumping right on into this. Okay. And quickly after that was invited to the garage and said romance started. And I was like, wow, this is not a slow burn.
Real quick. Yeah. And I don't know if you caught this. It was just real quick when she met Sean out in the parking lot and he was inviting her out. She took a picture of his driver's license. Did you see how old he is?
25?
Yeah, he's 25. Oh, my cat is meowing. So if you hear that, it's only because I shut the door. He wasn't in here when the door was open.
Is it Welly?
Yes, it's Welly.
He's just attached to his mother.
Just like I'm attached to my mother. So it's genetics.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an age gap by any means because she's like, what, 19? 18, 19?
18. She turns 19 over the summer, but she is 18. So there is a little bit of an age gap. Not crazy, but it was also, in my mind, it was like jailbait, jailbait, jailbait.
Dead. I mean, to be fair, like, just to dissect that by itself, I'm trying to imagine myself at 25 trying to date an 18-year-old, and that maturity difference is not it. Like, at least at 25, I've already gone through college. I'm well into working years. Like, usually, I mean, depending on the route people take, but like, usually you graduate like 21. So I would have been 4 years into working in the quote unquote adult world. And this girl, has just graduated high school. And it's just, wouldn't be for me, but I love that for them.
And I think 18-year-old Haley would have been like, oh, yes, a 25-year-old. I will. Oh,
absolutely.
Him. But the reverse is, yes, 25, you are still really young, but you're still older than an 18-year-old, and the maturity is different.
Yeah. I mean, 25 was only 3 years ago for us. And I can't say that I've matured a ton in the past 3 years, but I definitely matured between ending high school and out of college.
Yeah. But I mean, we do get to see that difference in maturity though throughout the book.
To an extent, yes.
Okay, did you know any of these crazy cars without Googling them?
I didn't Google them. I knew of a Camaro.
But like in a 69 Nova SS?
No, I have no idea. I still didn't Google it.
I didn't Google it either. But there's just like no background information on what the cars look like. But it's like, oh yeah, like Tyler at one point was like, that one's mine, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, cool. And I had
Sounds
no
good.
idea.
I mean, I feel like, same though. Like if a guy was like, here is this really fancy car. I'd be like, sounds great, my dude. I love that for you.
Cool, yeah. But like I never Googled what they looked like, and I still have no idea. I'm guessing, like I'm picturing Fast and Furious movie one. Oh, I don't think you ever saw that, did you?
I did not.
But for anyone listening, the Fast and Furious, the first movie, when Paul Walker is the undercover FBI agent, his little racing car, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. I should know this by now, but that's what I picture all their cars look like. Some tiny little Toyota looking souped up racing car.
Oh, wow. What a vibe. Haley, I'm not gonna lie to you. This is gonna be very challenging to do chronologically because I mean, like I skip forward. I don't know I don't know where you're gonna be at.
Oh, well, I mean, how far do you want to go forward?
I don't know. My next one was gonna be a dislike.
Oh, yeah. Tell me what you disliked. Let's see where you're at.
The Apple Watch.
Oh.
I like I feel like I've probably skipped some of yours. It's gonna be very hard to do this chronologically.
It's okay. We'll just, we'll roll with the punches. But yes, tell me about the Apple Watch and how you didn't like it.
When Sean, this construct of time. Okay, so if you're here, you know now the plot of the book. And you know that, long story short, there's a whole plot behind them going out. But when you're reading it, you don't know this. This is news to you. You just go with it. And the fact that he was very like hippie. He's like, I'm on nobody's time but my own, blah blah this, blah blah that. And when he fucking took, and I understand the Apple Watch was a gift from her father, but an Apple Watch is not cheap. These things are like 400 to the thousands. I don't know. I don't know the full range, but like they're not a small amount of money. And Sean didn't come from much. So the fact that he took this, somebody who doesn't come from much probably would not have actually reacted this way, no matter what they felt. I can't imagine somebody would just willingly and knowingly destroy a $500 watch just because.
He doesn't care about money, Ashlyn. He's living in the now. He's just doing whatever he wants.
I would like it known right now, podcast listener, that I personally do not like Sean. This is where it started for me. There were a lot of little things throughout the book, but he is not what I would consider a book boyfriend. He is a boyfriend of a fictional character in a book.
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Sean. I love parts of him, and I hate a lot about him.
Yeah, the hate for me is overwhelming.
I think Dominic falls more into my book boyfriend vibe.
Yes.
But
I love Dominic.
But there, I mean, yeah, like let's talk about Sean. Let's talk about Sean because I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about Sean. He really tried to trick you into you thinking that he was a sweet guy. Like, you know how people say like, oh, he's a golden retriever kind of boyfriend, just like a happy-go-lucky. Mm-hmm. But he has a really big dark side. Mm-hmm. And I did not like that he basically gaslit Cecilia.
Through the whole book.
The whole book. Like, there's nothing redeeming about being gaslit. And it was like he would just go into these monologue lectures to her.
And it was, I agree. And like, again, skipping forward a lot, but like specifically on the topic of Sean. So he took her to this waterfall. She finds out, hey, I'm not the first one he's taken to this waterfall. Yes. But when she asks, he says nothing.
Yeah. I put an orange tab on that.
Me too. Well, mine wasn't orange, but still. And then we have like, again, a lot of little things are happening throughout, but like the big ones that stood out to me was him just avoiding her questions, which again, it is discovered the reason that some of these are being avoided is because of this whole brotherhood and secrets and this, that, and the other, and that she's part of it. But, you know, he is gaslighting her consistently. And then when he takes her to the party, he just leaves her. And she's like, I don't know a single person. Well, you know, she knows like 3 people there. And I'm like, you are a horrible boyfriend. Like,
Mhm.
this is not showing my maturity. This is not a 25 year, I mean, granted, 25 is still a baby. I am still a baby as far as I'm concerned. But like, I would expect a 25-year-old to take care of his 18-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's just so many things that I was like, God, I don't like this. I hate this.
That and one of the absolute worst, like actually there are two, but the one I absolutely hated the worst about Sean's character was the barbecue dinner when she cooked that dinner for him, and because he refuses to use a cell phone and he couldn't tell her that he was
Mm-hmm.
running late, and she was upset that she had put so much time and effort into that meal and he just didn't tell her that he wasn't there. And then he twisted the whole situation around on her to make her feel guilty, and like she felt bad that she was apologizing for not taking him seriously enough in his Robin Hood adventure.
When she knows literally nothing about it.
Right.
I'm like, how do you expect her to give you any respect if all you're doing is keeping secrets from her? And again, understandably why, now that we're at the end and we understand the premise, but like when you're in the book, these things were infuriating to me. I'm like, how would anyone like Sean? Like, these things are so frustrating. The things that he's done throughout the book that were nice and enjoyable were so outweighed by the absolute shit that he put her through.
Yeah. And the other scene that I really didn't like was when Dominic made her touch his penis in the kitchen.
Yes.
And she wanted to leave. She wanted to leave. And Sean basically said, like, I thought you had more of it in you. Like, kind of like made her feel like shit, and then would not take her home. And then Tyler had like, parked behind her, so she really could not get to her car and leave. And she just kept telling Sean, I want to go. I don't want to be here. And he did not, like, he didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And that's why rereading this again, because part of me was like, oh, I really like Sean, before I reread it. And rereading it, I was like, oh no, Sean's a piece of shit.
Sean is a piece of shit. I genuinely, that's why I said Dominic would be a book boyfriend. Like, he has so many redeeming qualities. Granted, he was an aster in the beginning, but like, enemies to lovers, like that's per usual. But like, as he started to open up and we kind of saw his character, and when they were in their room together or in his room together, and she was like, I recognize some of these romance books on your show.
I was like, bought those books for her to read in his room. I was like,
yes, I stand with you, Dominic. I love him. Yeah. So I know that she would probably never pick between the two. All I'm saying is that I've picked for her.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So now that we've already decided to jump around, do you want to talk about the dad now?
The fucking dad. Listen, okay. So okay. Yes, I do. That's my answer. I want to talk about him. Because what an asshole. You know what I mean? Okay, so first and foremost, the facts. He is significantly older than her mother. There's an age gap. He's like 13 years her senior or something. Knocks her up, basically says, all right, have fun, bye. Wants nothing to do with Cecilia. Gives a check, I think. He gives child support, maybe. But like, other than that, he has no desire. She walks into this knowing he's not a great guy. Cecilia walks in knowing that this is not necessarily who she wants to be spending a year with, but like, inheritance, we're doing what we're doing. But she tries at the beginning. She tries to make some sort of connection with him, just if nothing else to make it bearable. And like, she even asks him, have you ever loved anybody? And he said, I tried, meaning outright, no, I don't. I never loved your mother. I don't love you. Yeah. And I'm like, what a piece of shit. Genuinely. I don't give a shit if you have a relationship with her or not, but she is quite literally your next of kin. Mm-hmm. And the bare minimum is to put in some sort of effort rather than gallivanting off to your Carolina estate or whatever and just completely leaving her alone.
That, and he got his panties in a twist when she would like come home late or not come home at all when he's not even there.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, you, sir, are a piece of shit. And that's not even to mention all the things he's done shady in his business life.
Yeah.
Like, that's just him as a human. And then to be shorting people for years on their paychecks. I mean, a half hour to somebody who is relying on that money, that makes a difference.
Well, okay. And then the one part that was like slightly redeeming about that whole thing was him saying, I have so many of these corporations, so a lot of the stuff falls down to other people handling it for me. And I was like, I get that. Like someone else could like be doing shady shit like under his nose and him not realizing it. I get that too. But then Cecilia was like, this is so close to home though. You should be doing better. So part of me was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I guess if he is like the owner of an international business, like he probably does not know what it's being taken out of every single paycheck. But again, he's still a shitty person.
Yes, I agree. And his other redeeming quality was that he did indeed listen to her and
Mm-hmm.
did put AC into the warehouse and did, I don't know if he I don't know if he backlogged all of that money that was due to people, but he said he fixed the paycheck issue.
Yeah.
I also think, not having read Exodus, which is the next one, I think this is going to play a part because, again, now that we know that the whole plot is basically about taking down her dad,
Mm-hmm.
I think where he said there are so many people doing things for me, I think this is going to play a big issue into the next one.
Yeah.
And basically, not saying by any means that like we don't have the right guy because he by himself is an asshole, but like I think there's going to be a lot more intricacies around the fact that he really isn't the only one calling shots in this company.
Yeah. Like it's not just him that they need to be going after. Like there's a bunch
Exactly.
of bad people.
Uh, a bunch. I mean, because he said something like they have 14 factories around the world or something. And
Yeah.
I was
In
like,
Europe alone. I
yeah,
think he
that's
said
not,
in Europe.
yeah, that's a good amount. And I still, okay, this is bad of me because I wasn't paying attention. Do they manufacture calculators? Did I miss something?
It's like, I think it's just like a technology plant. Like, I think she
Okay,
was sorting chips and calculators and stuff. So I think it's just like a manufacturing plant for like different technology.
got it. Okay, because I was like, I keep seeing calculator, and I'm just not sure if I'm understanding that these 14 European factories are all for calculators.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's different things. They didn't really go into too much detail on what.
which I think is a little surprising only because apparently, again, I'm going to keep saying it, the whole plot is about her and apparently taking down her dad.
Mhm.
So you would think that we would get more detail than just the shitty things he's done wrong. Like, what do they do? How
Mhm.
long has he been running this company? How many other shitty things has he been doing? I guess that's going to be more revealed in the next one.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be more in Exodus because you really didn't know that she was the secret until the very end of this book. So
Until the very end.
I don't think that they were trying to highlight any of that. And then in Exodus, I feel like they're probably going to break it down more.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I can't lie to you, when the whole conflict is what we'll call it, when the whole conflict happened and she walked into like 72 hours had passed after they'd said bye, and she walked into the thing and she just heard two songs and then went in and, Afternoon Delight and Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel. And she went in and felt completely betrayed. I literally was sitting there going, what? I'm so like, she's upset because of a song? I don't understand.
And I don't know those songs, so I
Haley,
didn't
you
listen
know
to them.
Afternoon Delight.
I think I do.
Afternoon Delight. It's from
I think that they did it on Glee, so I think I know it from Glee.
it's also from it's either Anchorman or Hangover.
I don't think it's in Hangover. I've seen that movie so many times.
Okay, well then
I
it's
mean, maybe it is. Maybe I'm just completely
okay.
oblivious.
And okay, so I do know Cecilia by Simon and Garfunkel. And I was thinking about it, and I even played the song because I was like, I could kind of see why she would be upset from this alone. Basically, the lyrics are, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're something, something, and stay here. And then it goes on to basically say, like, you're temporary.
Oh.
I think that was the premise of it. So I was like, yeah, all right. I could understand that. But even still, I didn't think it was enough to warrant her just breaking down into tears randomly.
Yeah. And I do want to go into that in more detail, but I kind of want to do the other characters first and what we thought of them before we start getting into those big moments. But I do have a lot to say about that.
Yeah. Agreed.
But can we talk about Dominic?
Yes, we can. I'm always happy to talk about Dominic.
Okay.
What would you like to say about him?
Did you think that he was the Frenchman?
Yes, I did.
I did too, because he's French.
Because he fucking spoke French, and his dad is from France. And then when she says at the very end, "You're the Frenchman," I don't know. I expected, quite frankly, it to be her dad, and getting some sort of like real back ass word thing going on.
Yeah.
But the way that she describes him was not something that you would say, "This is someone I fear." I don't know if you were catching on to this. I was like, are you attracted to the Frenchman? I'm so confused.
Right. I thought that too. I was like, oh my God, we're going to add a third man into this.
I mean, maybe. We don't know.
But so Dominic, I did think that he was the Frenchman. And I really, I get secondhand embarrassment very easily. Reading the first interaction where he was kicking her out of the party and telling her to get lost made me so uncomfortable. Yeah. And a lot of their interactions made me so uncomfortable until he started growing on me and then I liked him. But yeah, because you're the enemies to lovers fan and I'm not so much.
I don't know that I'm a full enemies to lovers fan. I like it every once in a while, but quite frankly, overall, it's not my fave.
Oh, okay.
I think that's really Laura. Laura likes enemies to lovers because whatever we read, just completely going off topic here, but whatever book that we did read that was enemies to lovers, I did not like it. It was one of them by like Emily Henry or something.
Was it Book Lovers?
Were they
that one?
Were they enemies?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anywho's.
We'll have to go back and think about which book this is.
Yes.
Yeah. But so the rainy days are clearly about Dom.
Clearly, which makes me quite literally heartbroken for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
On the Facebook groups, for those listening, on the Facebook groups, and everyone,
TikToks. Yeah,
and TikToks, everyone talks about the quote, "We love rainy days, don't we, baby?" Which I have to say, that direct quote was not in this book because I was looking for it.
No, I think it's the second book.
And yeah, it's very clearly like it's set up. That is, rainy days are Dominic. So I'm gonna be heartbroken if he dies. Like, I'm just gonna let you know, I'm throwing the book across the room and I'm probably gonna call it quits.
I really think that something's gonna happen to Dom, and that's why people cry, and he's gonna die. Because in the prologue, she just talks about the one man
being, I guess, Sean.
And I'm like, is that Sean? Is that Dom? Like, I thought she said she loved Sean.
She loved them both.
I thought she said she loved both of them.
She definitely did, multiple times, actually. But the fact that, there were many times that Dom kept saying, "That's Sean. That's not me. I'm not going to be the one to give you a future. I'm not the one to even think about futures. Like, I'm not the lovey-dovey guy." But, like, he did not consistently, but he did kind of prove that wrong with the whole book situation and having books that she enjoyed and then taking her on a date and all that other stuff. So I was like, you're kind of contradicting yourself right now, my man, but maybe that's the redeeming. I don't know that I'm saying redeeming, but like, if he does die, again, all speculation, we don't know, but maybe, I don't know. I don't really know.
I do think that he was more forthcoming with her than Sean was. Like, he didn't do the same stuff that Sean did. Like, Sean would, like, refuse to answer questions and would, like, turn shit around on her. Dom would not answer some of her questions, but he also, like, he didn't make her feel bad for, like, certain things. I don't know. Like, yes, he did make, like, he bullied her. He did in the beginning.
There was definitely some bullying.
But once they had a relationship, it was not like when Sean would, like, make her feel bad about things. You know?
Agreed.
And so I feel like Dom wanted her to know, but he would just, like, be silent. I don't know. I feel
Yes.
like I'm talking in circles, but I just think that the overall interactions were not healthy, but they weren't as bad as her and Sean.
Agreed. Again, I hate Sean. Sorry. But like, yeah, I agree. Because Dominic was at least trying. I mean, he did, again, by the secret oath, secret pact, whatever. He couldn't necessarily talk about all the things that were going on in the Brotherhood,
Mm-hmm.
but at least he tried, like, not tried, but like, I could definitely get the feel, whether Kate Stewart meant to do it or not, I could definitely get the feel that, like, if anyone was going to tell her anything, it was going to be Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sean clearly was not going to tell, I mean, up until the end when he did quite literally tell her what was going on, but it felt more like Dominic was going to be the one to open up, even if it was just the smallest little inkling of something.
Yeah. And I had okay, quick question because I'm thinking about the meetup. Is the Brotherhood all in on Cecilia's thing, or is the Brotherhood like a nationwide, like they're all doing different tasks?
I have no idea. I think based on the whole interaction that had happened when she came to the garage, I think everyone is in on maybe the big things that happen.
Yeah.
Like, such as taking over somebody who's got these 14 international, etc. factories. It's not just affecting rather where they are, but kind of worldwide. So it feels like maybe they aren't included on everything, but this would be something that maybe they would be, just because of the scope that Holden has. Holden? Is that his name? Holden?
No.
Holston? Starts with an H. I didn't write it down.
Why did I think
Austin?
her dad's name was Roman?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Her dad's name is Roman. What's
Is
his
it?
last name? Rowan. No, Roman. You're right. Oh my gosh. Should have
I don't.
written this down.
You are making. Oh, her last name's Horner.
Horner. See, I was close. Kind
But
of.
oh yeah, Roman. Roman's her dad's name.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to look it up.
Roman Horner.
What a name.
And his company is Horner Technologies.
Yep, that's a name that I would not have selected, but I love that for them.
Okay, so yes, love Dominic, hate Sean. Also love Tyler.
I do love Tyler.
And
I pictured him as a black man. I don't know what he was, but I pictured him as a black Marine, and I love him.
oh, I pictured him as kind of like short and stockier white dude with like a crew cut and big muscles.
I believe that for you.
I mean, I don't even remember how she described anyone besides Dom and Sean.
I don't even remember those, to be TBH.
What is Dom's aunt's name?
Oh no. It's
Because her relationship with Tyler, with it coming out like that,
Delphine.
That broke my heart a little bit.
I would agree with that. And I'm so sad because, like, as y'all know, my dad is also suffering with cancer. And it really does just completely make people shells of themselves. So, like, I can only imagine the vibrant woman that she used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And when Jeremy and her went over to, or not Jeremy, when Tyler and her went over to clean her house because of the fucking cockroaches, I was like, ugh. And yeah, when you're sick, you should not be living in an environment that's like that.
And I really hope she has some kind of turnaround in this series.
We'll see. I mean, it just doesn't make me hopeful just because people say that this next book like literally rips out your heart.
I know. So I don't know if something's going to happen with Delphine, if something's going to happen with Dom.
Probably both.
Something sad is going to happen, and I don't think that my heart is ready for it yet. But yes, I really did like Tyler and Delphine, and you did not know.
No.
Until he basically came out and just told her. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I asked you to go with me.
Right? But it was good for her, I'm sure. And Delphine, yeah. I mean, considering they apparently, I mean, I don't know how long this relationship lasted, but like, it's probably good for her to see him, to just be like, oh, the love of my life. I mean, I don't know that that's
Or
necessarily
at
true,
least getting
but
like closure, you know? Like they've
yeah,
had something and then it abruptly stopped.
exactly.
Are there any other characters we need to talk about?
I don't know if there, I mean, there's like the friends, the Christy and the Layla.
Well, shout
I
out
don't
to
know that
Melinda.
there's, oh, and Melinda,
I
yeah,
liked
with the,
Melinda.
I did too. Um, the only other person that it's not really a person per se, but can we just real quickly, I would like to say that I hated how many times she referred to him as Alfred Sean Roberts. I'm like, this is unnecessary. You've done it too many times. I don't, is there a reason I should know his full name like this?
Unless it's going to come up in the second book. I don't
Unless
know.
it's going to come up. But right now, I don't like it. And it wasn't even, it was at the most random times. Usually you use a full name like that if you're like mad at somebody. That was never the case. She was not yelling at him using his full name. She just randomly would say it throughout the book. And I didn't like that.
Well, I also don't like that he called her pup.
Yes, which is very interesting because we just read the playlist and he called her Pip.
Pip. But at least that was short for Pipsqueak. Like,
Yeah.
pup?
Yeah, I was like, is this like a wolf thing? Like, I don't, is this
Because
is this
she's
about
so
to jump
young.
into paranormal
She's
or
so
something?
young. She's a puppy.
Oh my God.
She's not full grown. She's jailbait pup. Yeah.
I've realized that I need to read books with older characters.
Oh, yeah. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah, the 18-year-olds are just not doing it for me. This is
When we were 18, yes, it did.
touche.
Now that we're in our late 20s, I don't like the 18-year-old heroine.
That's why I did kind of like the playlist, not like loved it, but like she was 27, 28, and I was like, thank you.
No,
Off topic,
she was 30.
oh yeah, you're right. She had just turned 30.
She was
You're
in
right.
her 30s. Yeah.
Even better. Makes me feel better.
But now, let's get to the meetup. I honestly did not even understand the point of the
Me
meetup.
either. I had no idea. I still don't know.
And I think that's too, like, yes, this was a really unique book and it didn't fit the norms, but it's also a really confusing book.
Very confusing.
And I don't know if
especially
that's
when you don't know what's going on because no one is giving any information.
And I don't know if that's on purpose or if it was just the way it came off. Like, it was just confusing. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt in that the first book is supposed to confuse you. And
I would agree with that.
the second, like, that's what I'm hoping. And then the second and the third book are going to tie everything together. But I really did not understand the point of the meetup. And everybody there was so freaking the same as Sean, you know, just like not forthcoming.
Yes, and no one would give any reasons as to why they weren't forthcoming. Like, even just saying as much as, like, we can't talk about it because of XYZ.
It's
like,
Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club.
I know. I'm like, this poor girl. I mean, this whole fucking brotherhood gaslit the shit out of her. And I'm like,
yeah,
I cannot even imagine. And again, the fact that she was literally the plot. Like, she was the whole reason was they were trying to get close to her so that they could ruin her father. And I'm like,
can we also talk about how Sean and Dom both asked her on several occasions, can you keep a secret? But she is the secret. So how it's like,
yeah,
what, like, that's why I was like, what are you going to tell her to keep herself a secret? Like, she's the secret. What do you mean? Can you keep a secret?
I know. And then when they, again, skipping ahead, but when they got to the whole 72 hours until she went into the garage and they were like, someone broke a secret or someone spilled a secret or whatever.
Secret. Yeah.
And I was like, so now I'm understanding that was just a ploy to like kind of separate her from them.
Yeah.
So that they could do that whole interaction. But I'm like, the whole thing is so vague. It just made me want to scream. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and the Robin Hooding, I only knew that because you said that. Like, it got to a point where I kind of was like, okay, it sounds like it could be Robin Hooding. That's what it kind of sounds like. But even
Yeah.
still, they never said, we do bad things for the good of people, until it was like at the meetup. I don't think anything was said until the meetup. And in
Maybe
that
I saw
moment in the
that.
car.
Maybe I saw that somewhere, like when I was on the Facebook page and people recommended it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I saw that because Robin Hood sticks in my head with this book. And so maybe it was just when I saw a recommendation. But yeah, because she does reference it, them being Robin Hood, because she calls Tyler the friar, the one that goes around and collects people's, like collects the money and pays it out and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know that I really caught that.
Oh.
I heard people saying the friar, but quite frankly, I didn't know what that was, and I didn't care to look it up.
Yeah, so he was the one that is distributing the money to people. But
Yes.
she did say, I'm pretty sure Tyler is the friar.
Yeah. Quickly, again, I don't even know where this was in the book, but like when Dom picked her up, this was before they got together, when Dom picked her up from work, I guess, and he took her through that neighborhood.
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know.
I still, because it's like nothing was exchanged. They didn't give him anything. He didn't give them anything. He just basically threatened them with a gun.
Yeah.
And then they left. And I was like, what just happened?
And she lost her marbles about that interaction. He was like, did we even do anything?
I was like, is this just to like give her and us a glimpse of what is behind the curtain? But even still, it didn't give us any glimpse at all.
Again, confusing.
This whole book was just so confusing. I was like, to your point, am I supposed to be confused? Or is this just because it wasn't written that they're giving enough information?
Right. Which Exodus is on my nightstand. I have started it just barely. And I'm still confused.
Great. Ideal. I haven't downloaded it, but I ordered it and I am waiting on it to come in.
And then the very end, basically the breakup is what I'm calling it.
Third act breakup, the worst.
The breakup was so dumb.
Yes.
They put her through that, and then which Sean had one redeeming thing, which is he saw her crying and he wanted to step forward and comfort her, and Dom stopped him. So I was like, okay, at least Sean isn't complete shit right there. Yes. But they do all that, and then she goes home to see her friend for a little bit, and then comes back, and then they immediately have flipped the switch. Yeah. And they're like, we're so sorry that we did that to you. It didn't work. We were just trying to protect you. I hate that. Like,
yep. No,
that's traumatizing for someone to embarrass them and break up with them in front of a crowd, an audience.
But even still, backing up one step, they didn't technically break up with her. I'm just so confused by that whole interaction, because she just heard the music coming outside of Afternoon Delight, and she said they're expecting, or she internally monologued, they're expecting me. She walks in, she sees everybody drinking, and it's a party. They're all having fun. Then she hears the song Cecilia come on.
Mm-hmm. That's a breakup.
And she just starts breaking down.
Because, I didn't look it up, but if you're saying that song was about someone being temporary, that sounds like a breakup to me.
Okay, hold please. Maybe it was, because I know the song, you don't listen to Simon and Garfunkel, but it goes, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. Nothing at all?
The only Simon and Garfunkel song I know is Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. And I only know that because I like the Disturbed cover of it. Ooh, I hear clicky clacky typey typey.
Sorry, I'm Googling the lyrics to Cecilia. I only like that song. Well, I like that song before, but I like that song because of Pentatonics, because they do such a good dang over cover of it.
I'll have to listen to the Pentatonics cover.
You haven't?
No, I'll have to listen. I don't know the song. We've got. Oh, you're talking about. I thought you meant they did a Cecilia cover. Yes. Okay. I have heard the Pentatonics do that one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So quickly, dear readers, listeners, here are just the quick overview of Cecilia. Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence daily. Oh, Cecilia, I'm down on my knees. I'm begging you please to come home. That doesn't sound like breakup to me.
Right.
Come on home, making love in the afternoons with Cecilia up in my bedroom. I got up to wash my face. When I come back to bed, someone's taken my place. Not a breakup song.
So.
And she starts bawling.
I think because they're also just staring at her. And, like, Dom has, like, that, like, sadistic smile.
Sneer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely meant as a breakup. And that's how she took it. And then they come back trying to grovel and just say, like, it didn't work. Like, we tried to make it seem like you weren't much to us.
Okay, I did leave out this. Okay, this is the part where I was like, this is a breakup song. Jubilation. She loves me again. I fall on the floor and I'm laughing.
Oh,
that's
like
where I thought the breakup was.
He basically convinced her to get back with him and he made a joke out of her?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, anywho's, again, to your point, I guess the real behind her feelings was just everybody staring at her and her having not heard from either of them in 3 days, and then she sees that they're totally fine.
Seriously wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything combined, but when I was reading it, I was like, I still don't understand why she's reacting this way.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would have just walked up and been like, hey guys, what's up?
And give me a kiss.
I would have been like, what's up? So is everything chill? I wouldn't have immediately just broken down into tears. But
Gucci? Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also thought it was shocking at the very end again when she figures out that the place where the meetup happened was quite literally in her backyard.
Yeah.
I was like, I did not see that coming. I mean,
That's
not
weird.
that it's like a big plot twist or anything, but...
So was the meetup there so that they could spy on the house, so that they could, like, keep tabs on Roman? You know, there's just so many things that I still don't understand.
But Roman wasn't even there because he was in South Carolina or wherever. So yeah. I don't really understand. Maybe just because it's a small town. I don't really understand. Like, some of these things felt surprising, but at the same time, I'm like, why should I be surprised? Like, is there something about this that I should draw a connection to?
What song was it that she kept playing over and over and over before the Frenchman showed up?
I don't know. The song name was K.
Was it? I thought it was Cigarettes or something.
No, that was the artist.
Oh.
The song name was, because I wrote it down, hold please. Or I didn't write it down, I tapped it. Shocker. Oh no, that was a whole different place. Sorry.
No, that's, I mean, I really should have looked up the songs, and I know that Kate Stewart put a whole Spotify playlist in the beginning.
Which can be found on my website if you don't want to type in that long URL.
Oh, thanks. That's good.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I really should have looked it up because she just played it over and over again and he just showed up.
Yeah, it's called K by Cigarettes After Sex.
Cigarettes After Sex.
Yeah.
Because why did one of the guys just have a cigarette every time?
Yes. Yeah. No, Sean consistently was smoking the whole time. I think Dom was big into the weed.
Yes.
Also, trigger warning, drug use. Sean was into because he constantly would have his Zippo lighter out, smoking cigarettes, and then Dom was really into smoking weed.
Yeah.
And then the reconciliation, when I thought it was interesting when he basically tailed her for however long to get her, to get her to pay attention. And then afterwards, Sean calls her to his office and he goes, oh, you talked to him? Because we haven't seen him in days. I was like, oh.
He's that heartbroken. He's like living outside of her house.
Exactly. He's literally just waiting for her, even though she was gone for 2 weeks. But yeah, I did think it was very interesting how quick she was. I mean, she didn't necessarily forgive them per se, but it was quick. She was gone for 2 weeks and then she's like, yeah, I'll hear you.
But also, Sean, for him to, in his office, for him to just say, I love you, like, you should know that I love you or whatever. Isn't it obvious? Like, no, it's not obvious because you treat her very poorly.
Like, absolute shit, quite frankly, Sean.
Yeah. And so for him to be like, of course I love you or whatever, isn't it obvious? Like, you should know that I love you. I'm like, again, this is a toxic relationship. And this is like,
very,
like, not spousal abuse. It's like, what is it? Like a controlling person? I don't know. He has the characteristics of a toxic person that wants to be the controlling partner in a relationship.
I completely agree. I'm very interested to know, now that we know the background, that he was trying to lure her in because they needed to get close to her. I'm interested to see that if the relationship continues in the next one, which I assume it will, if he reacts the same and acts the same, or if he's going to change a little bit, at least when they're alone. Because I assume the whole premise is that people cannot know they're together.
Right.
Like, because she was a pawn. Like, they cannot realize that they still have feelings for her and want to be with her. Mm-hmm. So I assume in, behind closed doors and in secret, they hopefully will be nicer about things and maybe more forthcoming with information.
But then you also have to remember, based on the prologue, she's not going to be with either of them at the end of the series.
But we do still have 3 books, or 2 extra books.
We have 2 more.
3 total.
And the third one could be back in present day, because she was going back to find one of the guys.
It's 100% positive. Another reason I say that was because originally, this was not a trilogy. This was a duet.
Oh, so it would have been like a then and now?
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, not necessarily then and now, but it could have. I don't know. I don't know how this happened, but I know that at one point it was the Ravenhood duet. It was not just the Ravenhood series, which duet, for those who don't know, is 2. Only 2 books. So I assume that would have been Flock and Exodus. And then I think the last one is
The Finish Line.
The Finish Line. I assume that came as an afterthought, more or less, which could then be present day because maybe she needs to follow up on the prologue.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, there's nothing to find online with these books, so.
Right. Well, I think we covered all the stuff that I wanted to talk about.
I feel exhausted. This was a good book. I will not, like, we've said a lot of shit about it, but, like, Kate Stewart did a really great job in writing the book and, like, just keeping people on the edge of their seats with just, like, what is going on. Mm-hmm. I did think it was well written, and I would definitely read more by her, depending on how badly Exodus rips out my heart and stomps on it.
Yeah.
But no, I like the book overall. I feel like that's a pretty good recommendation for people who.
And an afterthought, I did not see it coming that it was going to be 2 guys and 1 girl.
I did not either. No,
I did not. I really thought that it was going to be she started with Sean and then moved on to Dominic.
Me too.
And okay, sorry. One more thing about Sean.
There are lots of things about Sean.
I'm thinking about it. I do like that he did not push himself onto her. It was her decision to take it to the next level, and he was literally waiting for her to do that. So I did like that about him. And then I also liked that he validated that she had feelings for Dom and reassured her that that did not bother him.
That whole lake scene.
That was a good scene.
I was like, oh, wow. Real interesting that they, at least in this book, never again did
had another scene. Right.
Yeah, it was always individual, which she did address. She, meaning Cecilia, addressed at one point saying, I have not been with both of them together since then. You don't plan to.
Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting, though.
When I was rereading the book again, I was like, the lake scene is coming up. The lake scene is coming up.
That was a damn good. It was also very quick, I will say, because it wasn't like, it was so quick for Sean to say, it's okay if you have feelings for him and want to act on them. And then all of a sudden she was acting on them. I was like, oh, wow, that took no time at all. She was like, you gave permission. I'm running with it. Bye.
Because I really think she has a stronger pull towards Dominic.
Agreed. Even though she's like, I love Sean. He's my whole world or whatever.
But I think Sean to her is the safer bet because Dom is so dark and moody. I love him. Yeah. We got pulled back in. We got pulled back into talking about Dom. Okay.
I love my fictional men, dark and moody. Yes. Sean is too golden retriever for me, quite frankly.
But also a dick.
Yes. All right. Any last minute or last lingering thoughts?
No, I think we covered it. It's good. I'm hoping that Exodus resolves a lot of my confusion.
Me as well. Although, again, I'm going to proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Because my heart can't take it. So, Haley, please give us your book recommendation for this.
Okay. Ashlyn and I could not think of any other books that fit this mold. But I think if you want to read something similar, you should get this really fun book called Twilight by Stephanie Meyer, because it's about this broody teenage girl who, meets this guy who's keeping a secret, and two men happen to like her at the same time. Oh my God. There's no sex in Twilight, the first book.
I am flabbergasted. I love this. I love this.
She gets pulled into their little coven of secret keepers.
True. It's not an MFM.
It's not an MFM. It's barely even an MF, but
it's hardly an MF. And any sex that happens is not until the fourth book.
And it's very much a fade to black.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so that's my recommendation. If you want a book similar, I'm gonna say go with Twilight by Stephanie Meyer.
And I have no recommendation because this is just not a book that I, again, loved it, liked it a lot. I just have not read anything Robin Hood-esque like this. I have watched shows. If you're interested, Once Upon a Time, quite frankly, is after fairy tale characters, and Robin Hood is one of them. So that's my recommendation, if it counts.
TV, great.
TV, yes. You're welcome. Haley, yes. What is something good that has happened to you this month? Or something good that's happening soon?
Okay, we are going to Galveston.
That is not what I thought you were going to say, but yes, yay.
Oh, yeah. Ashlyn,
I thought you were going to say the end of school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this next week, like the week that this comes out, is the last week of school for my school. And I'm about to have 2 months off, which is hallelujah, so great. But more so exciting is that Ashlyn, my husband, and
I'm third wheeling as per usual.
We are taking our dogs, and we rented a beach house down in Galveston, in Crystal Beach, and we're gonna just have like a long weekend beach trip, and I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to it since we booked the trip 2 weeks ago.
Same, and I'm really hoping our tumblers come in by then.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna. I'm not holding my breath, but I'm hoping they do.
We ordered really cute Etsy Stanley cups, but they're like etched.
Really cute and incredibly expensive. We do not recommend.
I am a lot of money on them.
I am mad at myself. I think about it, but then I'm excited when it comes in because it is literally the cutest cup I've ever seen in my entire life.
It looks like a bookshelf. I wonder if we can link I'm going to link it.
You do it.
I'm going to link it because that Etsy seller, like, good for her. She's making some good money. If you want to spend an outrageous amount of money on a Stanley Cup like Ashlyn and I did, you can look it up. But yeah, it's like etched, and it's a bookshelf, and it has plants and succulents. It's so cute. I love it.
Guys, and I want to specify this right now. If you don't have the budget, don't even look. Because this cup is well over $100. I mean, we are not talking about a $45 Stanley Cup. Like, this is don't tempt yourself.
I really think I think it was like $125 or $130.
Oh, so no, I think it's like $150.
Oh my God.
After shipping and tax, girl.
Oh God. Okay, yeah. If you don't want to spend almost $150 on a cup, don't look at the link. but
A
I
cup.
will a cup. But it's a cup I'm going to use every day. This is how I
It's etched,
rationalize
guys.
it.
It's not like it's a sticker. It is etched into the side of this cup.
Laser etched. Man, we are promoting this, girl. We don't have the
Girl,
cups yet. We
girl,
don't even
if you want to give
have
us a discount,
right.
we will be posting pictures when we get our cups. Just
When we get
our
our cups, we'll post a picture. Yes. Okay, Ashlyn, what's something good that's happening?
Wow, I'd ask you, and you would think that I myself would have had an answer. I am honestly, quite frankly, my life has been real boring recently, and I'm so okay with that. The good thing that is happening is that I am going to take a small, brief break away from the light and fluffies and head dive into the darkers because
Ooh.
I personally cannot go too long without reading a dark romance because I need it to hurt. But like not like Exodus hurt. I don't want to be like emotionally hurt.
You want to be triggered hurt.
I want to be triggered. The trigger list for me is a lot like a shopping list. I'm like, ooh, knife play? I'll take it. Blood? Could leave that, but
Okay.
but I'll take it.
Ashlyn, that Mafia series that I talked about at brunch today.
Remind me again.
Oh gosh, I think it's called When Tomorrow Comes. It's on
yeah.
It's on your website. That is a dark series.
Sold. Say no more. My next one, I said at brunch today, but my next one, personally, this is not podcast wise, I'm going to be reading Antichrist by Ammo Jones. I am very excited about it.
See, your dark romance that you have to read, that's how I am with monster romances.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. You know what? I did love the first Duskwalker book, and I want to read the second one.
I want to read
Rain really, she brought me in with that one.
And she already has the third one, like, with a release date.
I think the third one's already I thought she was working on the fourth one.
Oh, wow. I am falling behind.
I could be wrong.
That's how I am, though. Like, I'll read, like, contemporary romance, whatever, and I'll get so bored. Yes. I need a palate cleanser of monster romance.
That's what I'm saying. And today, Nicole, love her to pieces. She was like, I need a palate cleanser of whatever book we're going to read by Emily Henry. And I was like, this is not a palate cleanser to me. This is, I'm getting bored and I need something else. I need more.
Yeah. We're going to read Happy Place by Emily Henry for our girls book club, not the podcast. But I mean, if it ends up being a good one, we might have it on the podcast later. But that's our next read with our friend group. Happy Place.
Nice, light and fluffy.
But for the podcast, the next book that we are doing is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I'm pulling it up so I can look at it.
Icebreaker is a hockey romance. So if you're into the sports romance, that's what it is. I don't know the real plot, Haley, unless you, I mean, all I know is hockey.
I just pulled the book off my bookshelf. So I was going to read the back of it just so that that's the synopsis. So yes, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. It says, he's the one thing she couldn't plan for. Anastasia.
Not an Anastasia.
So sorry. And like 50 Shades of Grey has ruined that name for me.
All I'm saying is if the main man's name is James, I'm not reading it.
It's Nate.
Okay, I'll take it. Okay. It's still not unique, but I'll take it.
Anastasia Allen has worked her entire life for a shot at Team USA. It looks like everything is going according to plan when she gets a full scholarship to the University of California, Maple Hills, and lands a place on their competitive figure skating team. Nothing will stand in her way, not even the captain of the hockey team, Nate Hawkins. Nate's focus as team captain is on keeping his team on the ice, which is tricky when a facility's mishap means they are forced to share a rink with the figure skating team, including Anastasia, who clearly can't stand him. But when Anastasia's skating partner faces an uncertain future, she may have to look to Nate to take her shot. Sparks fly, but Anastasia isn't worried, because she could never like a hockey player, right? This is giving me Step Up vibes.
Oh my gosh. What a vibe. Okay, so that's going to be our recommendation for movies.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, God, how old are you? Step Up is that
That was
movie.
not a hit. That was not a hit at the readers. That was a hit at us being old, but not
Right.
old.
Right. It's I think it's Channing Tatum's breakout role.
It is 100%.
Okay. Step Up is Channing Tatum, and I cannot think of the actress's name, but it's the girl that he married for a long time.
Jenna Dwalman? Jenna.
Okay, well, yeah, they actually got married after Step Up. They're divorced now. But it was about her being a ballerina and him being some hip hop street dancer. And
Street dancer.
she needed a dance partner, and he was forced to help her, and then they fell in love. That's what this sounds like.
I don't disagree. Wow, what a vibe.
And so that one is going to be coming out at the end of June, and it's going to be June 28th.
Have you seen the new Magic Mike? Because I gotta say, nothing like the other two.
Okay, is there a third one?
Yeah, it just came out. It's got Salma
Hayek.
That one.
Yeah, I didn't even
He's in
know they
it.
were making a third one because I didn't really like the second one.
It is very much dance, not so much stripping.
So I think your
Channing is really
audio-
shining.
I think your audio really cut out.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, but something
Oh.
about him dancing, not stripping.
Correct. Yeah, it's very, very dance focused and not so much stripping.
Excuse me, Magic Mike is about strippers, so
I don't disagree. I'm not saying there isn't any. I'm just saying it's more so about a show that he's putting together and he's the choreographer.
got it.
But there is some stripping, and there is a scene with Salma, and I was like, oh my god. Wow. And that's all I will say about that.
Sidetracked again.
So sorry. It's just one of those days.
Book podcast.
Well, here's my recommendations for all things ever.
So, in case you have forgotten, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace
Yep, that's the one.
is next month. And I don't think that it's on KU.
I don't think so either.
I could be wrong, but I think
haven't looked.
I bought it because it's not on KU.
But it may be on Hoopla or another library app if people cannot afford to buy a book.
Correct. Also, yeah, if you guys don't know this, I think Ashley and I have talked about it before. You really need to check with your library if you have a library card, because libraries do not have a lot of things in print anymore, but they have substantially large online libraries of ebooks and audiobooks. And so depending on which online library your actual library is partnered with, I have said library way too many times.
You've said it at least 105 times.
And depending on who they're partnered with, you can have access to different online libraries. So between Ashlyn and me, like, we have 3 different online libraries that we share between each other. So it's really great.
And I did double check, and Icebreaker is not on KU.
Okay, yeah.
All right, well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I feel like this one has been a really long one, but
I feel
it
like
could
it
also
has
be
too.
because we've had a lot of Zoom issues in the beginning.
Yeah. But, I mean, Flock was also a pretty intense book to get through,
Robust.
so
Mm-hmm.
it's warranted.
True that. The next one I think is like 440 pages.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's a good sized book.
All right. Well, we hope y'all have a great rest of the month.
Yeah.
And we will catch you, say the date again?
June 28th.
June 28th, 2023 with Icebreaker.
Yep. All right. Bye.
All right.
Guys.
Bye.